I don't know how long you guys have been following along with this project, but it is 4 years in the making, and we are going to start trying to fire this thing up today. I'm going to go over exactly how we program the FiTech EFI. I'm just installing the drive shaft here, and we got to grease it up as well. Got to do one more thing to it, make sure the fluids are in it, and then we're going to actually try to turn this thing over. This is a DEWALT cordless grease gun that we got. I'll put a link to this in the description below. You can get it on Amazon. Next up, we got to drill a hole to install the O2 sensor for the FiTech EFI sensor. I'm going to match up the FiTech included bung. It's got to be a hair bigger. They like you to do it at a little bit of an angle, not totally like perpendicular. And you definitely don't want to do it down at an angle because then water will protrude down. This allows it so the water doesn't get into the O2 sensor. Me didn't get a chance to actually weld on a bung when we did this, but FiTech actually includes a clamp-on O2 sensor bung. We're going to run it like that for now, and then over the winter we'll take it off and bring it somewhere to get professionally welded properly, because I would probably screw this up too. So this just goes on here, and they give us 2 clamps to clamp it down. All right, so programming it, 8 cylinders, cubic inches 408. Cam mild to wild. I think it's not mild, but it's not wild. I think it's 2. RPM, we're gonna make it 5,500. Maybe it could go more than that, but for now, we're gonna do that. Idle warm RPM, 800. Just gonna leave that there. Not gonna touch that. 2-wire coil. I'm gonna leave that on tack. I don't think we have the 2-wire end coil. We have an HEI distributor, so we'll leave it at that. Let's try that. Send to ECU. Ignition setup. Let's say 11. Lock time. It's locked. It's actually locked. I'm not sure what that is, but we'll still just go with what it says there. And a lot of this stuff can be adjusted. Idle setup. Reset IC learn. We're gonna have to do that. Idle set mode off for now. Actually, let's send that to ECU. Okay. I'm gonna do fan 1 and AC control setup afterwards. I haven't wired it up yet. We're still gonna try to fire it. And we'll reset learn. That looks like we got it there. Data logging, display setup. It does fault codes. So I think we did the initial setup. I think that's it. So let's do dashboard, and then we'll try to fire. We're gonna put some gas in it and we'll try to fire it. All right, turn it on and then let it prime and then fire it. All right, we got spark. That's more than we had. Go ahead, try it again. That's close. It definitely sparked it. We got a little what? A little more advanced?
Tiny bit clockwise.
All right, go ahead, try it. Let me turn this a little bit. All right, now try. All right, now go. right, so we got it started. First time getting this thing started, we're really excited about it. The main reason why it didn't start at first, two reasons, right? My dad did a good job painting the engine, but he also painted around this so much that this didn't have a good ground, and we weren't getting any spark. So we had to actually grind away, like when you lift the distributor up a little bit, grind away so there's some good metal for this to actually ground itself to. Because when we first tested it out, we weren't getting spark. And as soon as we did that, we started getting spark on the spark tester. The next thing that we had to do, I thought I had the times correctly on here, but when I Googled it, I had the wrong timing. It was for a 289. And even though when it said in it, it was 4351, the spark plug firing order was incorrect. So you're thinking, I thought it was this, but in actuality, even though you see right there, it says 351, it's wrong. It's actually this one. And my cousin Alan texted it to me. As soon as I did that, this thing fired right up. The auto tune in the FiTech, it's doing its thing. We haven't really done much with it. I want to make sure the brakes work before we put it in gear to try to drive it. And of course, in typical Ford fashion, everything's leaking all over the place. We're going to have to address a couple of the leaks. I don't think we tightened all the power steering lines down, and that whine was the power steering pump because there's no fluid in it because it leaked all out. We still got to connect a couple things, oil pressure sensor and the coolant temperature sensor for the gauge. For the gauges in the dash, the actual coolant temperature sensor for the FiTech's back there, which we have that and it works. But everything in there works, which is good. We'll charge the AC up. We got to make sure there's good tranny fluid in there. Finish bleeding the brakes, the proportioning valve, and then we will be basically set to try to take this thing for a drive. So make sure you guys stick around for that because we are stoked. So some quick troubleshooting stuff that I didn't get on camera, but I want to cover here. We went through 3 different water pumps because it's a Ford and you got pumps going one way and spinning the other way in different months. We tried 3 different water pumps, had to put coolant in it 3 different times to make sure that it was the right one or not the right one. And of course, it was the last one we tried that actually made it work. That and getting power steering lines that were the correct ones, because this is a Crown Victoria power steering rack, and we have an old school power steering pump, so we had to have custom lines made for that. We also got to fill up all the power steering fluid, which it wasn't really full when we did it. So other than that, those were just some of the troubleshooting stuff we had off camera before we got the thing started. But 4 years in the making, things running, which is great. We're going to do more videos on this. I have an entire series on this thing. So make sure you guys hit the subscribe button if you want to see all these videos, and hit the bell for notifications because YouTube doesn't like to show people my stuff. Every Thursday we put out a new video, so make sure you check them out. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.